Welcome to another episode of Drinking with Geeks. I'm Roz.
I'm Matt.
And we're continuing our summer cocktail series with the Tequila Sunrise.
You might not think it, but it's actually a pretty rock and roll cocktail. But we'll talk more about that later.
First, let's see how to make it. I'm going to jump right into our Tequila Sunrise with 3 easy ingredients. But first, ice. Now we need 1.5 ounces of tequila. We're going to use a white tequila, 100% agave. Next we need 4 ounces of freshly squeezed orange juice. You can also buy it at the store. It's way better if you squeeze it yourself. Our last ingredient makes this the sunrise. We need grenadine. We use a 1/2 tablespoon. We're going to use B.G. Reynolds grenadine. It's a pomegranate syrup. Also has a touch of hibiscus. Very summery. Last step, we need to garnish our Tequila Sunrise. I like to use an orange slice and a cherry.
So we're back with our Tequila Sunrise, and sharp-eyed viewers might notice that they actually look a little bit different from each other. And that's because we've made 2 different kinds, and we'll talk about that a bit once we taste them. Oh, that's pretty good. How's yours? You've got the fancy one.
It's amazing.
It's better?
I don't know. I have to try them both to find out. It's science, everyone.
It's a bit sweeter and more pronounced, for sure. I think I like this better.
I like this better.
Excellent.
And
that's the kind of thing we're looking for.
What are we tasting that's different?
This one, well, no, let's start with the classic version with grenadine, as you saw us make in seconds ago. Whereas this version actually has creme de cassis in it instead of grenadine. I got the idea to try this from sort of a combination of 2 things. People who follow us on Instagram might have seen that last week we posted a picture of another drink called the Tequila Sunrise that actually dates from earlier, from 1930. This one was created in the Arizona Biltmore Hotel, and it was lime juice, creme de cassis, tequila, and club soda. And we made it one night because we actually filmed making our drink like a week ago, but it was too hot on the night when we were supposed to do this. It's been stinking hot in Vancouver this summer, and our lights are very hot. You can see I'm sweating like a pig. Which makes the refreshing cocktail really nice.
That much more important.
We wanted to put up something, and so we put up that because we were still thinking Tequila Sunrises, and we'd never tried the old version. And I gotta say, I'm not as big a fan of it as I am of this, which is sort of an in-between, where instead of grenadine, we've got the creme de cassis.
I think the history of the Tequila Sunrise back Prohibition style is actually really interesting, because I read somewhere online that it was actually invented like in Tijuana, and there was a tequila-based cocktail with creme de cassis as well. So, I mean, maybe it's a bit of a debate about where it was from, but that place was somewhere where, you know, people from California would go south and drink tequila drinks, and they were made with the creme de cassis as sort of the initial place it started. But then grenadine got super popular.
Yeah, the popularity of grenadine actually influenced the creation of this version of the Tequila Sunrise in the 70s. I read an interview with Bobby Lozoff, who is one of the 2 guys that invented the 1970s Tequila Sunrise that we all know. And he said that he actually prefers creme de cassis in his, but he used grenadine in it because that's what was popular in the 70s and that's what was around. And when you're a bartender, you give people what they want. So that's the version that took off. So that's why we were like, let's try it with the creme de cassis.
He knows what he's talking about.
He should. It actually suggested in the thing to do half creme de cassis, half grenadine. But we actually have reduced the amount of grenadine that we put in ours by quite a bit.
Which is why you don't really see the sunrise color. Although we noticed, like, how pronounced is it? It's beautiful with the creme de cassis, and we've used the same amount of that ingredient in each of these.
Yeah.
But the grenadine sort of mixes in, and it's also not as viscous, so I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, the creme de cassis really settled at the bottom nicely and gives the gradient.
Mm-hmm. And you do get a little bit of that, and if you compare this to what the orange juice color is before you start, you definitely have a nice pink hue. But you've got more of a, like, early sunrise.
Yeah. Whereas the tequila sunrises that you've probably seen or had in bars, they have a very strong gradient. It's very red at the bottom. And that's because they use, the recipes that I saw online were for like half an ounce to an ounce of grenadine in it. And I made it with half an ounce to try the online recipe. And this is garbage. It was way too sweet. It wasn't well balanced. And trying that, I could see why the Tequila Sunrise has gotten such a bad reputation over time as being originated in the 70s, which was the death of cocktails.
The Dark Ages.
Yeah. And those versions, they're probably made with the Rose's grenadine, which, while we may have endorsed Rose's lime for specifically gimlets, Rose's grenadine is terrible. It's not real grenadine. It's just sugar and cornstarch and I think some like cherry flavoring or something.
It's very red though.
Yes, it makes a very red gradient in your drink. But real grenadine is actually pomegranate syrup and has a bit of a different flavor, and you need a lot of it to make that color change happen, or at least of the brand that we found. I suspect it's different with different brands. But it's not as bright red. And we've reduced the amount of grenadine we use to half a tablespoon, about a quarter of an ounce. And it tastes much better. You don't get the pretty gradient, but it tastes a lot better.
I have to say, what I find about this cocktail is and our recipe, please let us know what you think if you try these out or you have a recipe of your own. I find that this is a very balanced drink now. The tequila doesn't stand out so much that it's in your face in the way that it was when we were doing it with store-bought orange juice as opposed to squeezing the orange juice yourself. I find that the tequila just dominates that drink entirely, particularly because we've lowered the sugar so much. Yeah. But I actually find that this guy, not so much. You get all the flavors all together and it's really nice still. But this one's for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just like the cassis flavor a little more than the pomegranate flavor.
That's fair. What's creme de cassis, Matt?
Is it blackcurrant?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe let's double check before.
Maybe Stuff will say that.
Oh, we want to show what it is?
Yeah, we're using creme de cassis made by Odd Society in Vancouver.
Big fans.
It's really good creme de cassis. It's lovely to be able to use something local. But, you can find creme de cassis at lots of liquor stores that have a good liqueur department. But shout out to Odd Society. They have lots of great products.
Even just look at how that dark color there.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, so we did a little bit of the history and where this cocktail might have come from and how you might know it. And we talked a little bit about science. I said the word viscosity. That's close. The third thing we like to talk about, pop culture. So, Matt, why is the Tequila Sunrise so rock and roll?
Well, Roz. So the Tequila Sunrise, as we're drinking it here, was invented in California by Bobby Lozoff and I think Billy Rice. Hope text will clarify. In the early 70s, and one night in 1972, so the Rolling Stones were on their tour for Exile on Main Street, and they tried the Tequila Sunrise. They'd asked for margaritas, but the bartenders were like, no, try this new tequila thing that we made. And Mick Jagger loved it. And so he just introduced it, and it was like the official drink of their tour. They called that tour the Tequila Sunrise and Cocaine Tour.
Or Cocaine and Tequila Sunrise.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Those two things, probably they mixed up the order in which they said it and did it all the time. But it was quite a crazy tour, fueled by the Tequila Sunrise and cocaine.
other substances, I'm sure.
Yeah, so rock and roll.
There's one more rock and roll tidbit that goes with this too, because the Eagles have a song called Tequila Sunrise.
It's not a very rock and roll song, though. Have you heard it, like, recently? I don't think you're much of an Eagles fan. You and the dude.
I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
But, like, I'm not gonna say that it's not a great song. Teacher, it's not my cup of tea, but it's pretty slow and boring.
Maybe someday we'll find out if there's a French horn concerto cocktail, and then I'll know that one.
I think French horn concertos might kind of predate the cocktail a little bit.
They drank a lot.
Hell, no, that's not true. Okay, well, I mean, there were French horn concertos in the Romance era, which would be like the 1800s, the 1850s. And, you know, we keep talking about how the origins of a bunch of the cocktails are in the 1700s, and Mozart was like 1750. So, you know, because he was only around for 1 year.
He would have loved this.
He would have loved the Tequila Sunrise. You know who else would have? Liszt. First rock and roll star ever, in my opinion. Look it up.
Okay,
and,
so I'm sure we've convinced you how rock and roll we are, and how rock and roll your Tequila Sunrise will be when you make your own.
All right. And with that, cheers to the internet.
Enjoy.